Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast, your sanctuary with retreat experts, where we spill the tea on retreat success. Here we dive into crafting transformational guest experiences, talk about how to avoid pitfalls, and unlock marketing secrets. Whether you're a seasoned guru or a budding enthusiast, we've got the inside scoop for you. Join us as we learn how to flourish in this magical world of retreats. Welcome to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. It's Shannon, and today I have got an ultra special guest that I cannot wait for her to share her thoughts, her knowledge, and her experience with us. Welcome, RoseAda, to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here. I've been so excited for this. So yes, I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much.
I am so excited you are here too. It's so funny because when I looked at my calendar today, I looked at it yesterday and just knew like times of all my recordings today. But then when I looked at it today, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited I get to talk to you. So your energy is just like so beautiful and so contagious. So I'm really excited to chat.
Thank you so much. That means everything. That means everything, especially with what we do. That's when you can spot it and it aligns, it's everything. So I appreciate you seeing that in me likewise, for sure. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Love it. Especially you were so right with energy is like we are transferring energy in our words, in our presence, in our face, in our tone, in our copy, in all of that. And I really saw when you popped in on our group coaching, I really just felt it and saw it. So I'm excited to chat today, especially about something I think is a little bit unique when it comes to retreats. You mentioned it on the group coaching, and I just was like, oh my gosh, you have to share that with the audience. Because what you're doing, although in itself is very popular today, I don't know that it's very popular in the way that you're doing it, and not in a bad way, actually in a very good way, that you're kind of like pioneering this in a lot of ways. So can you tell us, RoseAda, how you are combining memberships with retreats?
Yes, absolutely. So and it's funny that you mention how it is popular, and amongst us as retreat leaders, it feels a lot of what we do and how we approach how we're doing this, it feels commonplace. And I'm realizing that the more I present this to people, oh, they have that look and that tone where it's like, oh, I never thought of that. Oh, tell me more. What do you mean? And so that off top lets me know that I'm doing this, that this gets to be done, that this is a need, there's a need, and the curiosity is there and all that. So I'm so thankful that I was given the inspiration and the really the admonishment from within to say, no, this is the time. This is the time. So all that to say,
for two things. One, I really never asked you, like, tell us all about what you do.
yeah.
And so I want to do that. But also, I'm so loving. I just want to point out that I'm so loving that you acknowledge that you kind of heard this from within. You felt it within, and you're like, no, this is what I'm going to do. And I mean, listen, I can't tell you how many times, as whether it's business owners, but really people in general, we don't tune in to what our intuition or our bodies, our hearts, our souls, what they're trying to tell us. We just kind of keep plowing through it, right? And keep doing the thing. And so anyway, I just wanted to say that's awesome.
No, thank you. And I know that for a surety because there was a time in the past, maybe a year or so out, where the idea, the notion was presented, and Shannon, I had no clue as to, I knew that it sounded good and it sounded like a fantastic opportunity to present this and to lead retreats in a better, more supportive way, but I had no idea how it was going to take place. And this time around, it was just like,
Bam.
This is how we're going to do it. Bam. Yes. So yes. Okay. So where do I start?
Well, first, tell us what you do in general. Like, tell me about your retreats, what you do, who's called to your retreats.
Okay. Yes. So I am a wellness retreat leader by way of being a wellness strategy coach for women in leadership and entrepreneurship. That speaks to me because I am her. And I understand that I have a very deep and grave appreciation for that blind spot when it comes to how we're showing up for ourselves, when it comes to our relationship with food and movement, when it comes to our willingness and ability and readiness to set boundaries so that we can nurture those things. And I know this despite having the professional experience and the education around food and fitness and nutrition and being a leader, running a business, running a team. So it's not enough to have that intellectual reservoir. It's how do you execute it? How does strategy support you in showing up for yourself? And that's the bridge. The strategy is the bridge between what we know and what we get to implement and what we get to nurture.
Hey, it's Shannon here. I'm just popping in really quickly to ask a big favor. Would you pause the show and go review it for us? Please. Reviews really help us to be able to get more guests and more experts on the show to help you transform your retreats. So if you wouldn't mind pausing and leaving us a review, that would mean everything. And if you're not already subscribed, do that too.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. It sounds like you know exactly who your niche audience is. And to me, that is so important. And I also love that you said, I am her, right? You are her. You're a few steps ahead of probably the people who are coming to you, but you are her. You know what that struggle is. You know what that challenge is, the problem is, and how you can help solve it. So, yes to all of this. Now, now that I took you in a big circle, I'd love for you to talk about how you took what you do and who you are in the retreat format and you combined it with memberships. And I'm really
Yes.
excited that you've kind of had the seed planted a year ago, but then now the time's right to pull the trigger.
Yes, indeed. So one thing I can say about my career path is that it has been very, even though it feels to maybe an onlooker very multifaceted, one element has just floated and just folded right into the other. And I'm so thankful for that. So to give a little bit of context so that it all makes sense, right? What makes me qualified, right? Because a lot of us, we'll find that it's like, okay, well, what's your why? What makes it make sense, right? And so I've been a foodie since high school, and that inspired me to go to culinary school. I remember taking pictures of food, or I'm sorry, looking at food, wishing I could just capture it. And back then we weren't taking pictures of food and sharing it. So it's just like, how do I replicate this? How do I make this the most wonderful experience for me and anybody else? So that led to culinary and catering. And then I wanted to show people a better way to enjoy their food without compromising their health, because I'm a foodie first and always. And so went back to school, got my degree in nutrition and dietetics. While I was in school for that, became a personal trainer. And then after even becoming a nutrition specialist and being that trainer, I noticed that a lot of folks have that issue with, we can find all of the plans and all of the regiments all day long, but how do you sustain it in a way that's supportive for your lifestyle? Oh, and lest we forget throwing in all of the titles that we have as partners, as potential partners, parents, again, leaders, business owners, all of that. So as I became a really solid wellness strategy coach, one of my past clients came to me and she wanted to host a retreat. She is a psychologist and she wanted a wellness element to her retreats, or to the retreat vision that she had. And she said, "You helped me so much on my journey that I I want for this wellness element has to be a requirement." And so we collaborated on that. And after that, there were some other projects that she wanted to embark upon. And I told her, I said, hey, for the record, this retreat leader bug has bit me solid. Okay.
Yes.
And and so I'm off to the races. And that's when I launched my wellness retreat, I suppose, series. And what really stuck out to me where the retreat membership comes into play is that I currently have a wellness transformation membership for said women in leadership and entrepreneurship. What I noticed, there's quite a symbiotic relationship between that membership and the retreats that I would host. So folks who are in my membership, they would come on retreat. Folks who came to retreat would join my membership. And so I've got that retention rate that's happening where I've got retreat alum, which is really nice. It's like, okay, they're asking me on the last day, when's the next one? That's encouraging, right? And that's empowering. And so, okay, let me I'll be right back. Let me go ahead and, grab this down payment link for you, and so, but what I know to be important about that particular process that showed me that it was important for people to not have what we know as that post-retreat letdown, where you're in this container where you're getting all these things and you're experiencing transformation, and you get back home to regularly scheduled programming, and there's no parade coming around the corner saying, okay, we're going to change everything up for you because you know better now. You're going to be kicked in the teeth with a lot of things that are going to challenge that transformation. And so what would it look like if you have that support before and after, so that you're prepared, you're primed to receive what's there over the course of the 4 days that we're there. And then afterward, you have tools and you still have support to be able to execute those. And it gets to be a beautiful, well-rounded scenario. And so the last element, and I think it's just an added bonus, is to create that membership allows for a really easy yes for these women who may have a hard time giving themselves permission to go.
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to leave all of this? And have I earned that right? Or this isn't something, I've got all these other things to account for, or I need to put those funds elsewhere, what have you. Okay, I am setting you up for success so that you don't have to feel daunted on any level. You have support, you know where you're going, you can plan for the future. And it's not a complete devastation to whatever other plans you had, because you're able to be supported all year round, and it's great.
Okay, there's so much goodness here. I mean, I can't even right now. I want to unpack a few things. So the first thing is I really want to hone in on the fact that you really know who your client is. I know I feel like it's almost like, I hate the phrase beating a dead horse, but it's like that, like just.
It bears repeating.
It does, because there's too much going on in the marketplace right now where people have decided they want to host retreats, and they're literally like just throwing stuff on a dartboard to see if it will stick. And it's like, no, you really have to know who you want to work with, and you really have to speak their language, and
yes.
you have to hone in on that. So yay, you. I just love this. And then I also love that you recognize that your overall program is the support, right? It's the support before retreat, during retreat, post retreat. But as you mentioned, you already had a program for your demographic, and you realized that and the in-person were married, right?
Yes.
They maybe went separate ways every now and then, but they'd come right back, And so I just love that you saw that. And I really love that you recognize that specifically your demographic really needed the support, right? Because they could go back to their business, back to their lives, and what they just built up on that retreat could start to chip away at, or actually probably be chipped away at just life, right? Life will just chip it away.
Right.
And so you recognize that support was needed. And rather than doing it in a coaching format or whatever may be the case, I'm really in love with this membership format, because it really does give, and especially you and I both work with women primarily, it really does give the woman, it helps her give herself permission.
Exactly.
Because I just literally was interviewing Allison, and you'll hopefully hear her on the show. She's an incredible human. She leads retreats as well. And one of the things we were talking about is that women will find any reason first to say no to themselves.
I've heard every reason, every and any reason, every reason.
Yeah.
And it's almost embedded within us. And what would it look like if you showed up for yourself on one degree of how you show up for everything else? Imagine how much more everything else would flourish.
Yeah.
If you gave yourself more.
Hey guys, it's Shannon. If you've been dreaming about hosting retreats or taking your existing retreats to the next level, let's make it happen together. Join me August 22nd through 24th for an unforgettable retreat leader mastermind experience. It's going to be located on my ranch in the beautiful Texas Hill Country. Here's what you'll get when you hang out with me and an amazing group of like-minded leaders. Learn my top strategies for marketing, business operations, and selling out your retreats. Connect with other passionate retreat leaders in a high-vibe, supportive circle. Recharge, relax, refresh, and soak up all the inspiration our ranch and our staff have to offer, because you deserve it. This isn't just another workshop. It's a chance to step fully into your role as a heart-centered leader while building a business that thrives. I'll be right there with you, sharing everything I've learned from the years of hosting retreats and running my own venue. Spots are super limited, so grab yours now at profitwithpurposemastermind.com. Let's create retreats that transform lives, starting with yours. That's profitwithpurposemastermind.com. I can't wait to see you there. Yeah. And I
Yes.
love your, like, just even a little bit, right? Just even a little bit more. If you gave to yourself, how much more you would actually have to give everywhere else. And so
Yes.
I love that. And so talk to us about how memberships do allow that. Maybe it's because it spreads out that financial commitment, maybe because they know, hey, listen, this membership includes a retreat. You might want to take advantage of it. Like, tell me your thoughts behind that, because I'm just loving that.
Yeah, certainly. So I think one of the things that is supportive from my aspect of it is it allows me to support these women in a way that it's that one to many model, right? And so I can, and because there's a target, they all have a commonality. There's not necessarily differentiation of content. It's okay, we all know why we're here, right? And so there's some commonalities, and so we get to address that in a way that you don't feel like you're on this island. Because again, leadership, entrepreneurship especially, it can feel isolating, it can feel lonely. It is not. We have an opportunity to open our eyes to what's possible when we want to lean on one another for support. And the other piece of this is if you have that sense of community, that's going to employ accountability with you. One of the things that I know has been like an aha moment for the women that I lead and serve is they know that the one of the smartest things that they can do is have someone else that knows more about a thing than they do on their professional board of directors and their personal board of directors. And I am your director of health and wellness. Okay. So if you can look to said advisor for some recommendations, some guidance, a game plan, some action steps, that's going to help you do what you do better. And I can't emphasize that enough, because that's the piece. That's where the membership comes in, because also I know that we don't have a whole lot of time for a lot of quote unquote intricate things. Okay, what can you give me now that's practical, that's succinct, doesn't feel like a heavy lift, but it's something that is sustainable. And that is another way to support them as well. And it doesn't feel like a huge commitment, right? And then, like you said, it gives space and opportunity for you to stretch out the payments. I've got a few tiers that I offer. So you want to come to one retreat, there's a tier for that. Two, tier for that. I host 3 within a 12-month period. You got 3 to choose from. And so that gives you the opportunity to say, okay, you know what? Because I know in a blink, it's going to be my next one. I've got one coming up in April, and then the next one is in October. And the folks that said I can't do April, let me know when the next one is. It's time to start planning for that now because of your life, the way your life is wired. So allow me to help you create space and the action steps to do that. That's where the membership really checks all the boxes there.
Love this. So I love that you have tiers, and the tiers include a different amount or attendance for retreats. What else does the membership include for your ideal guest?
So with the membership, well, currently, before I even launched it, I do a pre and post retreat assessment. So the pre is, again, so we can talk. Whether I knew you because of what I do, or you're just coming out of, you're from a mutual associate or what have you, I want to get to know you. Going to be sharing space, right? So that I want to make sure that you're good with it and all of that. So of course, ahead of them having the assessment, we've had a conversation and you've registered and all of those things. And so the assessment is to determine what you like, what you don't like from a food, from a sensory standpoint. I'm also a trained chef, so my hands are in that too, So I want to make sure that I'm providing that experience. Also, What do you want to address on retreat? What do you want to take away personally and professionally? Because this is professional development, by the way. This is
Yes.
helping you be better at your in your lane, right? And so there's that pre-retreat assessment, and then we have a 21-day reflections session where
Mm.
we're circling back. Okay, what's impacted you? What have you been able to maintain since you came back from retreat? What are some things that were some gaps? How can I continue to support you? And typically that will be the space where someone would say, you know what else do you have available? And so now there is not that need for that. So, well, it's already there. It's embedded within the membership. So tier one, you get essentially 2 one-on-one calls. Tier two, 4, and then tier 3, 6, because per
Yeah.
retreat is that pre and post assessment, which actually creates a flow through within, that 12 months. So we get to schedule that wherever, depending on where the retreat is that you attend.
I love this. Okay, this is so exciting. How's the reception been since you launched it? Because I think it's fairly new, right?
It is fairly new, like really new. And I'm excited that some of the ladies who are in attendance in my upcoming retreat, they're like, okay, so because they were already locked in, ahead of
Yep.
the launch of the membership. And so we get to have a conversation about what that ongoing support looks like, right? And so I had a pre-retreat assessment today, as a matter of fact. And one of the attendees said to me, I said, well, what's your purpose behind coming to retreat? And she said, I want this to be a part of my lifestyle. I don't want
Mm.
to wait until I retire.
Mhm.
She's running 3 businesses, 3 businesses. She's got to
Mm.
create space. She allows me to support her in that. And so now there is talk of, okay, what gets to happen after your 21-day reflections? How do you get to do that? And by the way, I'm building out a portal that includes content from retreats, any journals I gift, I have wellness partners. So if they have special promotions, they'll be exclusive to the retreat member or the
Yes.
retreat members. Yeah, it's those kind of things. And that's fantastic because my wellness partners are all women-owned businesses. So
Hmm.
that is also very aligned. So yeah,
See, I love this. And Rosetta, as you continue, you'll be able to continue to tweak and modify and include and
yes.
grow and adapt to what your demographic is asking for and needing, and that you can show up for. So I'm so excited for you, and I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited for where this is going. Do you currently host 3 retreats a year? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. Yes. Currently that is the case. Yes.
Awesome.
And I think that is one of the things that I know to be true is part of my role as not just a retreat leader, because there are many different types of retreats that, of course, we know that wellness retreats in particular, leading these wellness retreats requires me to employ accountability with myself. Because,
Mm.
like you said, when we first started chatting up, the energy is important, right? The energy and how I deliver the message and the why behind this. And when I'm calling folks in and I'm sending invitations to get on a call with me to talk about it, and then down to us again, me holding space for them during retreats, I have to be able to know the way to show up for myself first so that the energy doesn't become convoluted and it doesn't become a heavy lift. I know that it's important to decompress after retreat. And I tell you what, like full transparency, that's kind of been like a challenge for me to do, only because I've not felt that I've not felt like wiped out after. I feel rejuvenated. I feel lit up. And so it's like, okay, but you still get to decompress. You still get to, create space for you. And, I don't come back the next week and I'm just like out for the count and nobody hears from me and I'm, drooling on the couch all week. It's like, no, I'm
Fired up.
ready, right? Yeah. And so I'm thankful for that energy. And I know that in order to maintain that, I've got to be taking care of myself all year round as well. So I'm walking this path too.
Yeah, I hear you saying that you're walking the talk, because a lot of times us retreat leaders, we're really good at teaching and we forget to take our own advice, or we know what we should be doing and we don't always do it. So I love that you are doing that. And one of the things that I do and you may already be doing this, but one of the things that I do, especially when I travel to host retreats, I always give myself 2 days post retreat at the location by myself. And so even one day would be fine. I do 2 days because the day everybody's leaving is the day I count as one day. They
Yes.
usually leave half day. And so it's kind of a day and a half. But I found that that has been invaluable for me before I go back to my to-dos and my daily stuff and my, whatever chores, spouse, whatever labels we've got for ourselves. I'm able to not even just decompress because I agree with you. Like I'm so fired up at the end of a retreat as well. I don't typically feel exhausted unless I've just not slept enough for whatever reason. But other than that, I'm really fired up. But it's really to just celebrate and evaluate and take the time for me to just be like, that was fucking awesome or whatever,
Yes.
or what did I learn from that I didn't love and how can I, change that up for the next one and what changes do I need to make and et cetera and so forth. So I highly recommend those that host retreats to give yourself a minimum of 24 hours, but if you can even do 2 full days before you go back to your everyday world.
Totally. It's definitely doing that is that that's the culmination, right?
Mhm.
Because I know again, I'm hosting, I'm leading retreats. I built this as a second business. I'm still wellness strategy coaching. I'm still doing nutrition and wellness workshops. I'm contracted as a retreat chef. So I still have all these, I'm still a parent, I'm still a spouse, so all of these things come into play. And what I'm thankful for is my team who, after everyone leaves, we do a debrief.
Mhm.
We before we can talk about, okay, it's we do a debrief, and I order dinner and we crack champagne and we, you know what I mean? It's just like to another
Love
job
it.
well done. And ahead of that, yes, it's what worked, what didn't, where were the gaps, what are we celebrating, and how do we get to be stronger moving forward? And that makes, as opposed to, like you said, just kind of running out right after. So yes, definitely that day or two after, I am definitely an advocate of that and do that. So yeah, it's
Yes,
part of the
that's
fun. It's part of
awesome.
the fun. Yeah.
It is. And if logistically you can't be at the same space you were at, then check into a hotel that's nearby or an
Mhm.
Airbnb or something.
Yeah.
And I love it. You can do it with your team. I usually also have my team with me that stays. They might not be there the whole time, but they're there at least for that day that everybody leaves in that first night,
Mhm.
because that celebration time is invaluable and they are definitely a
Right.
part of the whole experience. And so I love that so much. And I love our conversation so
I
much.
know, me
I
too.
can't wait to see where this goes with your memberships and how it helps you to grow your business. And I'm just going to keep tabs on you and watch this thing explode.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I know one of the things that I can say for sure that I cannot discount and then I have to stay mindful of is when I've been obedient to that voice, when I've been obedient to, listen, woo woo, I'm here for all of it, okay? And because I've seen the power, right? I've seen the power which becomes the magic. I've got to be obedient to that. And I see it flourish. I see it work out. And this is no different. So the unknown on the other side, the curiosity that drives me to continue to do it, and the why is making this inevitably amazing. And I'm just so thankful. I can't shut up about it. Like
That's how you
I
know
can,
you're doing the right
yeah.
thing.
So I'm grateful for the support, and I'm grateful to be just even things like, oh, look at what we get to do
Yes.
for work, for work. Look at what we get
Yes.
to do for a living. We get to talk about supporting people. We get to talk about spending a couple days after retreat. We get to these are special. These are
Yeah.
special moments, and I won't take it for granted for a second. Mm-mm.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I will include your information in the show notes in case anybody wants to check out your memberships and what you offer. And hey, listen, everybody is that's listening to the show is an entrepreneur, and I'm sure they could benefit from working with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Retreat Leaders Podcast. Learn more at www.theretreatranch.com. See you next time.